How to calculate the end of service benefits?
Okay,
mostly?
so the calculation takes us to three main articles in the labor law. The first one is Article 51. So Article 51 stated how to calculate the end of service benefits accordingly. So let's say if a laborer works per hour, per piece, if they produce pieces per day, he gets his salary per day, per hour, or per piece that he produce, or let's say per week. So in respect of this laborer, the laborer is entitled with a salary of 10 days for the first 5 years that he works in. For each year of the first 5 years, 15 days for each year of the first 5 years. And for the rest years after the 5 years, he's going to be entitled with,
Take your time.
one comment to put on. He's going to be entitled with 10 days salary for the first 5 years and 15 days salary for the rest of the years that comes after the first 5 years.
That's great.
So again, to make it clarified, the 15 days salary that he's going to get for every year after the first 5 years. No, the first 5 years, he's going to get 10 days salary for each year of the first 5 years. Now, when it comes to the workers who work and get paid on monthly wages, they're gonna get 15 days for every year of the first 5 years. And then they will get a whole salary of 1 month for every year,
That's
for every
great.
year that comes after the
That's great.
first 5 years. So this is how it was stipulated according to Code 51. Now, Code 47 stipulated a very essential condition in which, one party would indemnify the other party if there was a breach to the contract through which might the end of service be, affected. So the article states that if one of both parties terminated the contract before its period, then they have to indemnify the second party to the period of time which was left from the working contract. This comes in a condition for the definite working contract, meaning, let's say I'm a worker at your company and I wanted to resign. Okay? My contract with you is definite. So let's say my contract goes for 2 years. Okay,
2 years.
I wanted to resign, and then you asked me why. I said I find a better offer. I have a higher salary. I found a better job. So I don't want to continue. It is my right, but this right is stipulated. I don't just come up to you in any time and ask to terminate the contract when leaving you without the human capacity to undertake your, interior work, your job, your things that I'm doing. This is why definite contracts always secure the period of time. So let's say again, I approached you and I asked you to terminate the contract. So I gave you a resignation while the term of the contract is not finalized yet. Let's say I have finished the first year and the second years I just finished like 2 months, right? So there are more 10 months to go and I did not comply to the 10 months. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to have to indemnify you as an employer with the term that is left from the whole term of the contract. So 10 months. Let's say, for example, my salary is 300. You're going to multiply the 300 with 10 and get the amount in which I should pay for you according to the law. Because, this is a fixed term contract.
Definitely.
I'm not supposed to be, ending this term, this code, or let's say this contract, unless as stipulated by the law. So you're going to ask me, how am I going to terminate it? Because, termination is a right for both parties, right?
Of course.
If I have to terminate it, according to the law, I have to terminate it earlier than the date of termination within 3 months, meaning I have to send you a prior notice within 3 months to have the contract, finalized and not being renewed, because most of the contracts include a term stating that this contract is for 2 years, okay, in respect of, definite contracts, and can be impliedly renewed, meaning if I did not present a termination letter, you did not terminate me, then this contract is going to be impliedly renewed for, let's say another 2 years and so. And therefore, I have to be committed for the time through which I have to present the termination letter. So again, to the same example in which I am, an employee for you for like a contract for 2 years, right? And I wanted to end the working contract. Let's say the contract starts at January, it's at December, January 2020. It ends at January 2022. I have to give you the termination letter in October, because when you calculate it, it's going to be October, November, December. 31st of December is the last day in which the contract itself is going to be terminated, unless otherwise it was impliedly renewed. So therefore, I have to present my termination letter in October. So this is it. This is how they get to indemnify each other if each party violated the working term. Now, when it comes to the indefinite contracts, see, because it is indefinite, there is no indemnification. Each party can terminate the contract with 3 months prior notice, regardless of what is it called, a period of the contract. And this brings us to Code 53, which stipulated the entitlement of the end of service benefits when it comes to the indefinite contract. So when it comes to the indefinite contract, let's say for the worker, if he worked for 3 years but did not reach 5 years, he's going to be entitled with half of the amount of the end of service benefits. If he worked for 5 years but did not continue till 10 years, then he's going to be entitled with the 2/3. Let's say he continued till 10 years full, he's going to be entitled with the full end of service benefits. Let's say the working contract was terminated before 3 years.
Before 3 years, it can happen sometimes.
It happens.
Yeah.
There is no end of service benefits entitlement within this contract. Within this case, only if the work contract was terminated by the employee himself. If it was by the employer, then the employee is entitled with full end of service benefits and being treated just like the employee with the fixed working contract term, which takes us to a matter of calculation. I wanted to simplify the calculation, so I wrote it down. Let's take an example of a worker who's working, let's say, he has a working contract, of course, not per hour or per product or per, let's say, day or week. No, he gets his salary on monthly basis. And his salary is 300 Kuwaiti dinars.
Okay.
I worked for 8 years. How am I going to calculate the end of service benefits? This is how it goes. So, the period of working, 8 years. The salary is 300. Now, for the first 5 years, as the code stipulated, I'm going to calculate 15 days for every first year, for every year of the first 5 years, 15 days, okay? Which means I will divide 300 to 26. Ask me why.
Why?
26 are the days of each month in which we are working. Of course, we have to exclude Fridays. So when you exclude Fridays of every month, you get 26 days. Okay? So what we do is we divide 300 to 26. You'll get 11 and 500. This is your daily wage. Or let's say the daily wage of the person who works for 300 salary, which gets paid on monthly basis. I'll take that amount, 11 Kuwaiti dinars and 500, and multiply it with 15 days. Tell me why.
Why?
Because I want to get the sum amount in which I am stipulating this matter. I'm going to get 172 and 500 filses.
Oh.
This is...
Well, you counted the filses. That's good.
Yeah, of course. This is justice for the workers, okay?
Yeah,
so, 172 and 500 filses, multiply that with 5 years. You're going to get 862 and 500 filses. 500 filses, okay? So, this is when you calculate the end of service benefits for the first 5 years for the contract in which the worker has worked for 8 years. Remember when we said there is a difference between the first 5 years and the years that comes after. So within this condition, we have a worker who worked for 8 years. So for the first 5 years, we got amount of 862 and 500 falses. Now, I'm going to calculate it according to a salary for every year. Remember, this is the second condition. So I'm going to take the salary again, 300, multiply that with 3. Tell me why.
Why?
Because 8 minus 5 equals 3. 3 years left out of the whole working period, right? So we're going to multiply 300 with 3, and I'm going to get 900. Then what I'm going to do is to add the 862 500 falses plus 900 Kuwaiti dinars. I'm going to get 1,762 and 500 falses.
Definitely.
After getting that sum, according to the Article 51 that stipulated how to calculate end of service benefits, I'm going to jump into the next condition of Article 53, whether if it's definite or indefinite contract.
Definitely.
So, if it's a definite contract, I will be entitled with the full amount of 1,762 and 500 falses. Let's say it's indefinite. If the contract is indefinite, we have to check the period in which I have worked. So according to the example I've given, I have worked for 8 years. Remember, the condition stated that if I worked for 3 years and did not reach the 5 years, I will be entitled with half of that amount that we have just had. If I worked for 5 years and did not reach 10 years, this is our condition here, I'm going to get the 2/3. So how to calculate the 2/3? I'm going to take the 1,762 and 500 falses, divide this to 3, multiply this with 2, and then you get the 2/3 amount of what I'm going to call end of service benefits.
Oh, that's great. You